So very good morning to good evening to all. Okay. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the charging and discharging of a capacitor. So how the capacitor was charges and discharges, and how the current through the circuit will be changes. Those things were clarified in previous lectures. And coming to the next one, relating to the magnetic force. The next one is magnetic force. So here we have a law of magnetic force. So how the force between two magnetic poles will be experienced, that we'll see. So coming to, so the Coulomb is a scientist who was first determined experimentally the quantitative expression for the magnetic force between two isolated point poles. So the Coulomb, who is the scientist who was determined experimentally the quantitative value. So how much force will be present between two magnetic poles? I think these are we may be studied in 10th class level. Okay, so the force between two magnetic poles placed in a medium is directly proportional to their pole strengths and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them and inversely proportional to the absolute permeability of the surrounding medium. So directly proportional to the product of the each pole strength. Okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them and inversely proportional to the absolute permeability of the surrounding medium. So from this uh, law of the from this law we can find out the F is proportional to the force between two magnetic poles. So each are having a pole strength of M1 and M2. Okay, product of those two, and indirectly or inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two poles and the absolute permeability of the medium surrounded by these poles. Okay, so and the from this we'll get F is equals to K into M1 M2 by mu into R square. So K is the proportionality constant from the previous. Okay, and that K is so the value of the constant K is 1 by 4 pi 1 by 4 pi. Okay, here M1 M2 by 4 pi into mu into R square. Okay, that is the force. Here mu is equals to absolute permeability, and that is equals to mu naught into mu r. So mu naught is the permeability of the air and mu r is the medium, the relative permeability of the medium. Okay, and uh, from that if m1 is equals to m2 and both the field strengths of the both the poles are equals to m, and the distance between them is 1 meter, and the force between the two poles is equals to 1 by 4 pi into mu naught newtons. mu naught newtons. Okay, so we have some terminology related to magnetic field strength, magnetic flux density, magnetic flux, like that. So the first one is magnetic field strength. So how we can find the magnetic field of the pole, its strength? Okay, so magnetic field strength at any point within a magnetic field is numerically equal to the force experienced by a n pole of 1 Weber placed at that point. Suppose we have a magnetic field, okay, and the n pole, suppose we will consider a north pole. So the north pole will be experience some force. Okay, so that force relates to the magnetic field strength of that north pole. Okay, the pole strength. Hence the unit of the magnetic field strength is newtons per Weber. So Weber is relates to the units of the flux. the magnetic flux. So here we have north pole and south pole. Generally, the magnetic fields or flux will be starts from north pole to reaches to south pole. Okay, so I think all of you know these basics. So here the flux per unit pole. So for a given pole, the flux is represented by the pi. Okay, so a unit n pole is supposed to radiate out a flux of 1 Weber. Suppose we are consider a magnet is there, and for that every magnet we have two poles, north pole and south pole, and for the north pole, so we have it will produces the flux. Okay, so and that flux relates is a value of 1 Weber. Okay, so its symbol is pi. So the flux coming out of n pole of m Webers is given by pi is equals to m. Suppose we are representing the flux which is coming from a north pole, so it is having a value of m. So then that is equals to m Webers. Wb is the units of the flux. Okay, and the next one is flux density. So it is given by the flux passing per unit area through a plane at right angles to the flux. So this will be represented by based upon the area. Suppose we will consider the population density. Okay, density is corresponds to measured with respect to the area. So population density of the East Goa district is more than the population density of the Anandpur district. So because the distribution of the population is more in the East Godavari when compared to Anandpur. Okay, like that, the flux density is corresponds to the distribution of the flux or the flux in a given area is more. Okay, we can say it is having some flux which is for a given area. So then we can consider as a flux density. It is usually designated by a capital letter B. Okay, and is measured in Weber per meter square. So with respect to area is units is meter square, and the flux which is presented over an area. Okay, so that's why flux units are Weber per meter square. So flux density is measured with Webers per meter square, or we can represent with Tesla. So we can also represent Tesla, the flux density. Um, in a CT scan, in the CT scan, you may see that. So we have a CT scan of, you may observe that in any hoardings in near hospitals, they will specify that CT scanning of 4.5 Tesla, 4.5 Tesla. So there is some units that is maximum flux density. So in the CT scan, we can use the this magnetic field strength. Okay, so that magnetic field will be represented in terms of the flux density. So okay, so that's why they will be specify that the magnetic field in terms of the Tesla. The capacity of that CT scan is 5 Tesla, like that. The amount of the field strength and the flux density. So that represents the measuring capability of that CT scan. Measuring capability of the CT scan. Okay, so coming to the, yeah, you have any doubts till now? If you have any doubts, you can raise, no problem. So the absolute permeability of the material of the rod. So here we are saying that the permeability, absolute permeability, mu is equals to B by H. B is the magnetic flux density and H is the magnetic field strength. Mu is equals to absolute permeability, that is flux density by field strength, and from that flux density B is equals to mu into H, whereas mu is equals to mu naught into mu r, that is Weber per meter square. And coming to the next one is electromagnetism. So till now we have discussed only the magnetism properties or different terminologies, and here we will see the electromagnetism, so which relates with the magnetism and the electricity. Okay, so suppose uh, so you take a, I think you are maybe studied in lower classes, that is, so you will take a nail, meku. Okay, so for that you can wound with a wire. Okay, for the nail we can wound with a wire. So and you can pass the current through that wire. So it will be experienced as a magnetic. It will be experienced as a magnet. So whenever the current will be passes through this coil and the nail, okay, will be placed between this coil, that that will be acts as a magnet. So okay, north pole and south pole, so like that. So it will be electromagnetism is relates with the electricity and the magnetism, magnetic. Okay, so for that, the force on a current carrying conductor laying in a magnetic field. Suppose a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. How that on that how the force will be experiences, that will be see. Whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, whenever a current carrying conductor, so it means wire, we can use the wire for the current carrying. Okay, so we will give the current, or we will provide the supply to the wire. Okay, and that wire will be placed. Okay, current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. It experiences a force which acts in a direction perpendicular to both the direction of the current and the field. Suppose there is a magnetic field is there. Here, here we have, uh, here we have, uh, see here, see this figure, second figure. So this is the north pole and this is the south pole, and here the magnetic flux will be generated from the north pole and reaches the south pole. So this arrows, red color arrows will be indicates the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, and here this is the wire, this is the wire, and this wire will be placed between the north pole and south pole. Okay, so and this wire will be used to flow the current. Okay, so we are sending a current, so we are providing a current that is to be flowing through this conductor. Then this conductor will experiences, this conductor will experiences a motion or force, some force. Okay, so that force is, that force is proportional, that is force is perpendicular to the direction of the flux and the direction of the current, direction of the flux and the direction of the current. So this one is called as a Fleming's left hand rule. This one is called as Fleming's left hand rule. So you can use your left hand, you can use your left hand. Okay, so by placing your left hand like this, so the forefinger, the forefinger will represent the direction of the magnetic field, the forefinger will represent the direction of the magnetic field, and this middle finger, it will be represents the direction of the current of the conductor. Okay, so then the current will be flows through this conductor. Okay, and the lines of flux, so these two are in perpendicular, these two are in perpendicular, and whenever the current carrying conductor is placed between the magnetic field, so this conductor will experience a force. Okay, that force is perpendicular to both these directions. So it is in the, it is in the opposite to all these directions. It means, so if you consider this the x direction and this is considered the y direction, and this force will be in z direction, z direction. Okay, so there are three directions. So the lines of flux is in x direction. Okay, x direction, and the current is in y direction, and due to that the magnetic field, there is a force will be experienced by this coil or wire, and that wire will be moves in the upward direction. Okay, so that is the Fleming's left hand rule. So that is we are going to explain. So whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a force. Okay, so which acts in a direction perpendicular both to the direction of the current and the field. Okay, that is explained here. So if L is the length of the conductor, if L is the length of the conductor laying within the field, and I is amperes, I ampere of current carried by the conductor, then the magnitude of the force experienced by it is, so force experienced by this force is BIL, BIL, and B is the flux density, I is the amount of the current which is flowing through this conductor, and L is the length of the conductor, the length of the conductor which is placed between the magnetic field, magnetic field. Okay, and previously we have seen that B is equals to mu naught into mu r into H. B is equals to mu naught into mu r into H, and by substituting that, the force experienced by this conductor is mu naught mu r into H into I into L, I into L newtons. This is the force. Okay, so this is called as a Fleming's left hand rule. So the direction of this force may be easily found by Fleming's left hand rule. Left hand rule. And the next concept is magnetic circuit. So previously we have seen that electrical circuits, electrical circuit. So in the electrical circuit we have a voltage source, a resistive elements, and capacitive elements. Okay, and we have some voltage. Okay, and these are connected in a closed loop. Then we can call it as a electric circuit. Okay, there the voltage is the driving force, and the current is the movement of the electrons. Okay, so similarly in the magnetic circuits we have here, this is like a solenoid or a, a ring type of the structure. Okay, on this ring type of the structure, so there is a coil will be there. So the coil, the wire will be wound at any place we can wound. Okay, so we will wound the wire. So we will wound the wire, and this wire is connected to a flowing of the current I. So through this we will allow the current to pass, the current of I. Okay, and due to that the flux will be generated, the magnetic flux will be generated. So that magnetic flux will be flows through this closed path. Okay, so this is the ring structure. This is the type of the, we can call it as a toroidal. So we can call it as a toroidal, or it is a solenoid. So we maybe experience solenoid in future studies. Okay, so solenoid is nothing but we will wound, a coil. Okay, so that that wire will be wound like a round structure. Okay, similarly this is iron ring structure. This is the iron ring. So on this iron ring, so we will wound means we will connect the, will connect this wire. Okay, so and due to that from by giving some current through this wire, so it will produce as the magnetic field. So this is nothing but the electromagnetic field. So this is electromagnetic field due to the flow of the current. So this magnetic field, the current will be cut by this particular uh, core, iron core, and due to that the magnetic field will be produces in this ring or iron ring. Okay, and this magnetic flux, the magnetic flux uh, will be distributed around this ring. Okay, and it is having some a cross sectional area A. So you see here, consider a solenoid or toroidal iron ring having a magnetic path of L meter. So this is the total length of this magnetic path is considered as L meter, and the area of cross section is A. So the area of the cross section is A meters square, and a coil of N turns. So this is nothing but you can call it as a coil. So coil is nothing but so wounding. Okay, so by taking an iron ring, on that we will wound the wire. Okay, so by wounding we will get number of turns. So okay, so those turns are equals to N turns and carrying a current of I amperes. Suppose it is carrying a current of I amperes. Okay, then the field strength inside the solenoid is, okay, the field strength which is generated in this ring or solenoid is H is equals to Ni by L. The field strength H is equals to Ni by L. So where N is the number of turns, I is the current flowing through this coil, and L is the length of the field which is generated through this ring. Okay, so L is the magnetic path. So the magnetic path of L meter, the magnetic path of the L meter. Okay, so that is the field strength H is equals to Ni by L. Okay, that is ampere turns per meter. So I is the current, and then the number of turns is represented as just turns. Okay, that is represented as ampere turns per meter. L is the meter length. Okay, so from the B is equals to, we know that the flux density B is equals to mu naught into mu r into H. Mu naught mu r into H, and substituting this H value here, we will get mu naught into mu r into Ni by L. This is Webers per meter square. Okay, Webers per meter square. So the total flux produced phi is equals to B into A. The total flux produced is pi, that is flux is equals to B into A, where B is the flux density and A is the cross sectional area of this toroidal ring. So this is the cross sectional area. So that is the A. So by substituting B here, so you will get mu naught mu r Ni into A by L, and pi is equals to Ni by bringing this mu naught mu r into A to the denominator, we will get L by mu naught into mu r into A. Pi is equals to Ni by L by mu naught into mu r by A. So you see, remember this equation. So here the numerator Ni from the flux pi is equals to Ni. So the Ni which produces magnetization in the magnetic circuit is known as magnetomotive force. Magnetomotive force, that is nothing but MMF. Whereas in electrical circuit it is electromotive force, EMF. In electrical circuit, the driving force we can call it as EMF. Voltage, EMF, we can, both are same. Okay, the voltage source, that is um, the battery. Suppose if we consider the battery, it is, we can call it as a voltage. Suppose we can consider a generator. Generator will produces the voltage, so that is called as EMF. So we are producing some voltage, so that is called as electromotive force. Electromotive force. Electromotive force. Here MMF, this is MMF. Magnetomotive force. Magnetomotive force. Due to the magnetization, so we have some force. So that is produced by N into I. So the number of turns into current. Okay. So that is ampere turns. I is the current and N is the number of turns. Due to the applying of the current, there is some force will be develops. That force is nothing but the MMF, magnetomotive force, and that magnetomotive force is proportional to the amount of the number of turns and the amount of the current which is flowing through the coil. Generally, the coil turns are constant. We cannot change. Uh, we cannot change proper number of times. So if we change the current, okay, so the force will be increases. Due to that, we can get the magnetic force. Okay, so that due to that magnetic force, we will get the flux. Okay, so here MMF is the magnetic motive force. It is the units of this one is ampere turns, and it is similar to as the EMF of the electric circuit. It is similar to the EMF of the electric circuit. So now we are comparing with the electrical circuit and magnetic circuits. So in the denominator we have, so this is the numerator, this is the numerator and this is the denominator. Okay, one second. So here, so the flux phi is equals to Na by L by mu naught into mu r into A. So this is nothing but the numerator is nothing but the MMF force, and denominator corresponds to the resistance like reluctance. So in the electrical circuit, we'll see it is a resistance, whereas in a magnetic circuits, the denominator L by mu naught into mu r into A is called the reluctance of the circuit. It is analogous to the resistance of a electric circuit. So when comparing with the electrical circuit, it is corresponds to resistance. Okay, so the L by mu naught into mu r into A is called as the reluctance. Okay, so it is similar to the resistance in electrical circuits. So what is the purpose of the resistance? The resistance purpose is opposing the flow of the electrons or opposing the flow of the current. Similarly, the reluctance is corresponds to the opposing of the flow of this the passes of the flux. Okay, the from the magnetic motive force, the flux will be generated, and for that the opposition for force or opposition for this flow of the flux is considered as the reluctance. Okay, so the flux is equals to mmf by reluctance, and it will be represented by letter S, and mmf is the force. Okay, F by S. So sometimes the above equation is called as the Ohm's law of the magnetic circuit. So this here the flux is corresponds to I in electrical circuit current. It's like a current. Okay, I is here, it is the flux is corresponds to I is equals to V by R. Similarly, in magnetic circuits, flux pi is equals to mmf by reluctance, that is magnetic motive force by reluctance, F by S, and this is called as Ohm's law of magnetic circuit because it is similar to the expression of the electrical circuit. Current is equals to EMF by resistance, or I is equals to V by R. I is equals to V by R. So here the magnetomotive force MMF. Okay, so it drives or tends to drive flux through a magnetic circuit, and it corresponds to electromotive force in an electric circuit. So this magnetic motive force is used to drive the flux. So flux will be travel through this through the given solenoid or ring. Okay. So for that movement of this flux will be provided by this force, that is magnetic motive force, and is equal to the work done in joules in carrying a unit magnetic pole once through the entire magnetic circuit. So the amount of the work done in joules, the amount of work done, what that work is, carrying a unit magnetic pole once through the entire magnetic circuit. So it is measured in ampere turns. So it is similar to as the potential difference between any two points measured by the work done in carrying unit charge from one point to another in electrical circuit. So units of the magnetic motive force is ampere turns. And the reluctance. So it is the name given to the property of the material which opposes the creation of magnetic flux. So creation of the magnetic flux which opposes the creation of the magnetic flux. It will be considered, that property is considered reluctance. It measures the opposition offered to the passage of magnetic flux through a material and is analogous to the resistance, and its units are ampere turns per Weber. And reluctance is equals to L by mu A and L by mu naught into mu R into A, and resistance R is equals to rho L by A. All of you know that rho L by A, and rho is equals to 1 by sigma. The sigma is the conductance opposite to the resistivity. Here this sigma is the conductivity. So we can say the reluctance is a number of ampere turns required per Weber of magnetic flux in the circuit. So 1 ampere turns per Weber is equals to 1 by Henry. The unit of reluctance is reciprocal of the Henry. So Henry is the unit for the inductance. And next one, permeance. So it is reciprocal to the reluctance. Permeance is nothing but it will be allowing the flux, okay, creation of the flux. For that it will provides the allows, okay. So and implies the case or the readiness with which magnetic flux is developed. It is analogous to the conductance of electric circuits and is measured in Weber's per turns or Henrys. So the reluctivity. So reluctivity is a specific reluctance and corresponds to the resistivity, which is specific resistance. It's like when compared to electrical circuit, we have a resistivity and specific resistance. Okay, similar like that, we have reluctivity, or we can call it as specific reluctance. Okay, so the next one is series magnetic circuits. Series magnetic circuits. So in the electrical circuits, we will connect different resistors in series. So similarly, in magnetic circuits also we have series circuits. So if we consider this figure, so due to the variation of the area, so it will be provides different flux variation. Okay, so here this is the A, this is the variation of A, and this is the path of B, and it is having a length of L2, and it is having some area B, and from here it is again have a length of L. So this is the flux which is present in this ring structure. Okay, so it is having a length of L3, and here it is having a length of L2, and from here to here it is having length of L1. So there are three sections A, B, C. In addition to that, here we have an air gap. Air gap. So there is no connection between these two. But in the place of there is no connection. So here we have some air. Okay. So this particular will be considered as a air gap. Okay. So in the electrical circuits, we will close the circuit entirely. Okay. So but in magnetic circuits, so there is some uh, disconnectivity will be there. Okay. So that disconnectivity will be considered this as a air gap. Okay. So in the electrical circuit, the through the air, the current does not flow. In the electrical circuit, the current does not flow through the electrical circuit in the air. Whereas in magnetic field, the flux will be easily connects. The flux will be flows through the air. Okay. So air is a good conductor for the magnetic field, but air is insulator for the electric field. Okay. For the electric current, air is insulator, whereas for magnetic field, air is good conductor. Okay. So that's why through this air also the flux will be passes. The flux will be flows. Suppose here we have a combination of suppose we have a combination of different materials, three different magnetic materials of different permeabilities and lengths, and one air gap.